Today we've got something special lined up with our episode theme, Spoonfed. We're showcasing not one but two incredible Honda Type R builds, each with that unmistakable Spoon Sports influence. Today's lineup features Dan's meticulously planned EK9 Type R build. We'll dive into his vision, explore the mods he's chosen so far, and take a look at what's next. And joining the lineup is Ian. He's brought along Koi's Integra for a side-by-side comparison. Let's jump in to hear Dan's insights, explore the mods, and see what makes these builds true Japanese legends. And don't forget to follow us for more deep dives into the world of iconic JDM cars.
I guess my favorite modification that I've done to the car is the Spoon close ratio gear set. It really wakes the car up. You know, there are some sections on a track where you might be in third gear and it's sort of a bit of a compromise. With this, there's always the right gear for it. First gear is very tall, 80 kilometers an hour in first gear. So on some tighter sections where you would be in second gear and just coming onto VTEC, you're in first gear at, 6,500 RPM coming around that same corner. There's not too much more left on the menu in terms of what I want to do to it, other than, saving a little bit of weight, and the words of Colin Chapman from Lotus, add lightness. So that goes in line with the hood and wing, but as well, the interior is going to get a little bit of a revamp. We have this Spoon carbon Kevlar bucket seats that are going to go in. So that'll drop a significant amount of weight over the Recaro SR3s that are in there currently. One of my favorite things about these cars, the Civic and the Integra, is that they're fun to work on. They're easy to work on. If there's anything that you're a little cloudy about, there's tons of information out there from other YouTube videos, forums, and these cars have actually been the way that I've gotten sort of my kids, 3, into working on cars with me. So after events, when I come back, we'll do oil changes together and things like that, and wash it down and take the wheels off. And, it's really fun to see them get involved. And, it's very easy to point out what does what on these cars, and it really gets them to, not just be a part of it, but to understand, exactly what's going on. And my oldest was actually old enough to finally go around the track with me this year. So she got her wristband and put her in the Civic to take a couple laps with me. And she's been coming to track days for a few years now, and finally, she gets to see what's going on the other side of the pit wall and go around for a few laps. And she really enjoyed it, and it was a great car to do it in. You could really go out there and have fun with it, and it's not too intimidating for a young child out there on their first ride. So the first Honda that I bought was the Integra Canadian model in '99. And it's a very nice OEM example. It had 2 previous owners before me, has about 100,000 kilometers on it. So it had 2 previous owners before me. The last owner owned it for about 12 years. And both of them loved the car very much. It was meticulously maintained. And I have to definitely give them credit for that. The car was a really nice example when I received it, a really good starting point. And all original, all stock, save for a catback exhaust, but the original exhaust was included in the sale, and that went on immediately. And the only other thing I had to go and find was the radio, so I found a nice OEM radio for it, put it in there. So now it's a nice original example. And it was a great daily for the time that I did daily it, and then I did take it to the track. And you have high expectations. It was hailed as the greatest front-wheel drive car to be built in that era, out of the box. And I mean, it definitely exceeded my expectations. It was a really sharp car. I was expecting understeer, and it still wasn't there. It would go where you would point it, where you would steer it. Very happy loaded. It was a joy to drive, and very impressive in its stock form, absolutely. And I guess that's sort of why I'd like to keep it in its stock form. That's not a platform that I want to go ahead and modify and everything like that. I think that it's nice to have a time capsule for people to come and see, friends and my kids to see an original example from the 90s. And I guess that's where the Civic Type R came in. This was the one that I wanted to modify and to throw some parts at, and to use a little more aggressively on track. And that's what sort of steered me toward, what parts do I want to use? And I wanted to go with Spoon. I wanted to see what their formula was. They engineered these parts, it was all racing development with Honda. and I wanted to see what the whole package did. So it really, you know, it brought the car to a perfect balance between it not being too far away from what it originally is. It really accentuates and still lets you enjoy, you know, the core characteristics of the car. And it's been, you know, fun. It's been very reliable. It's been very fun to work on. After I come back from events, my kids and I will do an oil change on it and everything like that. And it's very easy to point out these parts and what does what. And it's been a really fun pastime to come here and tinker on it. You know, I'll save some easy jobs to do with them when parts were coming in, like a front strut tower bar and things like that. And just to get them involved and to, you know, turn a couple bolts on the car. And my oldest actually has been coming to the track with me for a few seasons now. And she's always very helpful in the pits and cheering in the grandstands. And this year she was able to get her wristband and come around with me for her first laps on a racetrack in the Civic. And I think that created a very special memory for us, for both of us to have gone around, you know, for her first time around the track, to get on the other side of the pit wall and see the reason why we're there on the weekends that we can, and why we spend so much time and energy and everything to be there for her to go and finally see what it's all about, you know, buckled into a seat, was a really special experience. And I couldn't think of a better car to have done it with than this one. It was just something that I don't think that either of us will ever forget anytime soon. And yeah, feeling very privileged to have such a well put together car to, you know, turn laps on a racetrack with. It's a ton of fun.